Hey, what's up, guys? This is Technical Tim here, and I'm just gonna recap a little bit on UFC Nashville. And this is my worst losing night of the year. I lost about 5 units. I think I had a little bit of bad luck, a couple good picks, a couple bad picks. Got to own your bad picks. It's important to do that and make sure you kind of reflect like this. So I'm just going to briefly kind of just talk about the card from a technical and a betting perspective, and really just kind of maybe say how my thinking was before the fight and thinking was after the fight. So first fight of the night was Jordan Espinosa defeating Eric Shelton by decision. And I had a small play on Shelton here. I think Shelton was the better fighter. He just didn't make good use of all his toolbox. I thought he was a little bit better of a striker, to be honest. Something that is a concern of his, and it was a concern of mine going into this fight, and it kind of did pan out a little bit, is sometimes he doesn't throw enough volume, and he's not as busy. But I feel like if he just kind of would have thrown a little more volume, he could have took this fight on the feet rather easily. And I thought he would. Espinosa tends to tire if you grapple a little more too. And even though I didn't expect Shelton to take down Espinosa for significant periods, I was really surprised he didn't shoot at all, because I thought the grappling would maybe wear Espinosa down even more. And come the second, and the third, he could have won those 2 rounds a little easier. So I'm not too mad about the pick, in the sense that you can't always control how your fighter is going to fight, who you pick. All you can go is by their previous fights. And he generally attempts takedowns and kind of mixes up his game more than he did here. So I was kind of relying on him being a little more of an aggressive striker, or I was a little more of a technical striker, which he was. The speed advantage for him wasn't as big as I thought. It was probably pretty close, to be honest. But I thought he would mix in the takedowns more. Overall, I think the scorecards of 30-27 were terrible, because I thought the third round was the easiest round to score for Shelton. And then I gave Espinosa round 1, and that round 2 is a toss-up. I feel like it could have gone either way. But I don't think it was I think either guy could have won the fight. But I do think if Shelton just kind of fought a little more intelligently, I feel like he could have justified his line, honestly. But overall, I got him at -165, and even if he fought intelligently, it probably wasn't the best pick, so I'll kind of own that pick. But I do think he didn't fight as well as he usually does either, so as far as mixing it up. So it's kind of like whatever. Not too happy with the pick, but not too mad either. So it's just kind of like, I'll just take the loss. It is what it is. Chris Gutierrez beats the shit out of Ryan McDonald. I didn't track this play, but I hit Gutierrez on his opener, and I hit him. I got him at even money, and then I hit him again at -130. I had $400 on him, I think. I got about a unit in. And I thought, so I didn't track that on Bet MMA, because I knew if you guys pay for my picks, I knew you wouldn't be able to get that line, so I didn't want to put it in there. But I did parlay him on a tracked pick at -250, because I still thought there was some value there. And he just ate him up with low kicks, and that's pretty much what I expected, and just by being way better. But yeah, I figured the Gutierrez leg kicks would be there all day, and they were. And he could have just done whatever he wanted. Next fight, Ronda Marcos and Angela Hill. I was leaning Hill here. I didn't play this fight because I did think the takedown storm early could maybe get to Hill, and I didn't think Marcos would get a submission. She won by armbar. Souza was taking down Angela Hill, and Angela Hill was fighting the grappling situations fine and getting her get-up games going. So I thought that was kind of just kind of a little bit of a random finish, but I feel like if you played this fight out 100 times, I think it would look more so like Marcos getting occasional takedowns and maybe winning a round or 2, and then Hill having her success on the feet and peppering volume. And I think it would just kind of be back and forth. So it's hard to know exactly how that fight would go, but I'm glad I did stay away. So I'm happy with the stay away because I was leaning Hill a bit, but not in a way where I was going to play her. But and Marcos gasses usually with her grappling as the fight goes, and that was another reason why I wouldn't want to have played Marcos either. So kind of just is what it is. Jennifer Maia, Alexis Davis. This was anyone who laid off on this fight. I think that was a smart play. I suppose there might have been value on Maia at like plus 160 whenever she was that line. Warrior Bet MMA. Shout out to that guy. He was all over Maia. The guy's fucking hilarious. But I actually think Davis won the fight. I thought she won the second and the third. And this is kind of how I thought the fight would go. It'd be a back and forth shit show where Davis was much better on the ground, and then on the feet, Maia had the better hands, but Davis could maybe get to her with pressure and just kind of being tough. So that's pretty much exactly how the fight went. So I'm glad with the stay away. I feel like, honestly, like Davis probably should be favored going forward, like slightly, just because I feel like she has a bigger advantage on the floor than Maia has on the feet against her. So, yeah. Here's my biggest regret of the night, because I didn't play this fight, and I fucking was thinking Vera all week, and I was thinking knockout and inside the distance, and they had good value, I think. I mean, easy to say in hindsight, but I was thinking he was going to get him all week, and I really thought he was just going to knock Sainz out, and I fucking didn't play it, but you know, sometimes you just lay off and it works out. Sometimes you lay off and it doesn't work out. You fucking wish you would have played it. But this one is just like, there's sometimes like you lay off and your fighter who you were leaning, even though you laid off, wins, but you're not too mad. You're kind of like, whatever. But this one, I felt more strongly. I feel like I should have actually played it, and he fucked him up. Vera's not that great of a round winner, but I don't think he's as meme as like a Nico Price. I guess Nico Price does have some knockout power. So like, but Vera actually has like much more finishing abilities, and he consistently hurts guys. Like, and he's not getting dominated in rounds. Like, he might be losing around positionally, but he's not getting like dominated, where Nico Price was just getting fucked up by Tim Means and just pulled a rabbit out of his hat. But kind of regretted not playing this fight. Next fight, Bryce Mitchell, Bobby Moffitt. I broke this down in my first video, and I'm really, really happy with this layoff, because I actually, even though Mitchell won, I think Moffitt gave away the fight, and I think my read, I leaned Moffitt pre-fight, and I would probably favor him after seeing the full grappling exchanges going forward. I would lean Moffitt. He was the better top 10 guy, and he just gave away the third round. He won the first 4 minutes of the round, and then just he went for like a Darce or an Anaconda, I forget which one, and lost position with a minute left, and Mitchell took over took the round there. And I still think Moffitt could have got that third round if, like, in ideal judging situations, because he won the first 4 minutes, and like his submission attempt earlier, I think he was in a Darce choke, I thought was deeper than Bryce Mitchell's like 1 minute of control and his rear naked choke attempt. And then he ended up reversing position in the end too, with like 9 seconds left. So I knew Mitchell was going to get the round because judges emphasized the end of round almost too much at times. But I also thought going forward, Moffitt kept landing that sweep single. He kept shooting the right sweep single, and he'd dump. And what I like about single legs is, in a double leg, there's only a few finishing options. You can blast double them and drive them. Oh fuck! You could blast double them and drive them backwards, or you could turn the corner. There's a couple things you could do, but with a single leg, he kept dumping, and then Mitchell recognized it like the third time he did it, and then he just switched to the double. He was whizzering and pushing down on the head properly, and then he just switched off to a double leg Moffitt. So single legs give you like 30 options. There's so many ways you can finish people. Finish the takedown, I mean. So, yeah, I would favor Moffitt going forward. I think the closing line is probably accurate. I'd put him at like a little bit more than 50%. Like, I'd put him like minus 140. I think he wins like 55 to 60% of the time. So I'm glad I laid off that. And yeah, I mean, he lost the first round, won the second, and he should have won the third until he made a crucial mistake by sacrificing position and going for that dumbass submission. So, next fight, Macy Barber, JJ Aldrich. I broke down this fight. I'll be fair here. I mean, I definitely underestimated. I did say Aldrich would have some success on the perimeter, and I thought that was her best chance. I didn't think she'd have that much success, though. And I do think eventually Barber started kind of getting the timing down and started avoiding the straight punches and started kind of tagging Aldrich. But I also think I still think Macy, people are going to disagree with this, but she just didn't fight the way she usually does again. There's a lot of that tonight on some of my picks. Usually people fight the way, I suppose, because I just go off their historical performances and what they like to do. And here, like, people deviated from their historical performances. And Macy is best whenever she gets in close. She's landing elbows. She goes for takedowns a lot. She pushes you up against the cage. And she didn't do that nearly as much as she usually did. And she started being more aggressive and not fighting the perimeter and kind of coming in and landing elbows later. And that's when she really started fucking Aldrich up. And I think she would have done that from the get-go if she would have. I know people will disagree with me there, but I don't think I'm being unreasonable here. I really think Macy's justified at her. I got her at minus 220 and had a couple units. And I think she was justified if she just fought like if she fought her, the path of victory that would lead to the highest percentage of outcome for winning for her. So, kind of is what it is. Luis Pena and Steven Peterson was the next fight, and I didn't have a play on this one tracked. I did untrack kind of last minute throw on Pena inside the distance and point handicap, so I profited slightly on this fight. And it kind of went how I expected. I think the reason why Pena got fucked up in his last fight against Michael Trezano is because Trezano was eating him up from the outside with leg kicks, so Pena couldn't let people get into his range and kind of play and kind of dominate the range game and just keep people on the, just kind of hit people when they came into his range, where Trezano was on the outside, and Peterson played right into that game. And I'm from the same area as Luis Pena. And, I live in Chicago now, but I'm from St. Louis, and I've actually rolled around with this guy. I've wrestled with him before. And being a tall guy myself, he uses his grappling leverage really, really well. And he's not like the best fighter or anything, but I do think he has he has a good use of his body type in grappling and striking. Like, he kind of uses his long punches and uses a lot of elbows, and kind of they come from different angles, and he does a lot of things where he'll let you shoot in just so all of a sudden he can kind of do it like a switch and take your back or something. But he understands like the leverage really well in the grappling situation, and it's really hard to fucking grapple taller guys. And I had that advantage of people growing up, and they hated wrestling me because you shoot a single leg and you try to dump them, and all of a sudden I have my left long ass fucking leg out there. So the leverage is just different, and the body weight and the shifting of the body weight's different. So he uses his leverage well. So yeah, but he pretty much fucked Peterson up. Next fight, Formiga and Figueiredo. I lost on this one. I played Figueiredo money line, and I played the fight not going the decision. My reasoning here was I thought Davison would kind of fuck him up standing, but Formiga was smart. Annoying from a fan perspective, but from a strategical perspective, he was smart by just kind of running away on the feet a little bit. He engaged early and landed some good shots, but later, after he banked some time, some rounds, he kind of just didn't engage and just ran away. And I thought also Figueiredo's, hold on 1 second. Video just cut out for a second. Yeah, but Figueiredo, I thought he would be able to power out of submissions, and it would either work and he would get up and KO Formiga, or he would power out out of them, and Formiga's tight jiu-jitsu would kind of take advantage of a grappling opportunity from Figueiredo not being as technical, and he would get like a back take and sub him. And it just didn't pan out. Formiga, I think the main reason I got this fight wrong is that Formiga didn't... he went for like mount once, but he kind of laid in guard more than I suspected. I thought he'd pass a lot more, and I thought it would just kind of create chaotic situations to either A, Formiga getting a submission, or B, Figueiredo kind of powering out and then knocking him out on the way up or something. So I thought it would just be a little more chaotic, but Formiga just didn't... He fought smart though, but from a betting perspective, it annoyed the fuck out of me, but it is what it is. And so... And that fight, I'm not too mad over. I did think Formiga would get some takedowns here and there, but I didn't think he I don't think Davison was too outmatched in the wrestling. I mean, he was a little bit, but he stopped and got some underhooks at times. But I just thought eventually he'd walk him down and get him. But I think maybe the money line pick on Figueiredo was probably not the right call. But I think the fight not going to decision, I just couldn't have expected Formiga to be so conservative. I thought it would just be a little different. So I'm not too mad on that part of that fight, but on the money line, it was probably the wrong play. Next fight, John Makdessi, Pinedo. Pretty much went how I thought it would go. No action on this fight. I thought Makdessi would kind of pick him off, but I didn't want to play a minus 300 favorite in a fight where it was just going to kind of be not too many big moments. So it is what it is. I thought Makdessi won all 3 rounds. Yeah. Curtis Blades, Justin Willis. That was the next fight, and this was the third fight that I broke down in my previous video. And I laid off on the money line like I had mentioned to do. That was my advice, and I think it was good advice to not play Willis because that's what I was originally thinking. But I mean, Blades ended up looking like the value side here because Willis couldn't really do anything. But Blades, I played him TKO, and I don't regret the play. I don't think if you would have told anyone that Justin Willis was on his back for 15 or on the floor for 15 minutes, that and he, Blades didn't finish him, especially with the way Willis kind of slows down. I don't know, you wouldn't think Willis would survive for 15 minutes pretty much on the floor. And Blades, at the end I was just hoping Willis would fucking knock out Blades in the third round whenever I knew Blades was not going to finish him because he pissed me off. So Blades looks like the cloth of wrestler who likes to ride you and not put hooks in. So in wrestling growing up, you'd meet people like that. Some people, it's called riding legs, putting hooks in folk style wrestling. And some people like to ride legs and some people aren't comfortable because they don't want to lose position and get bucked off. And Blades obviously seems like that guy. And I saw that on his tape a little bit, but where I didn't get this wrong. It's just this is what happened because we didn't really see Willis off his back. The only information we had was him getting fucked up on the floor, in his pro debut, long time ago, but still. But you wouldn't expect this from a guy with not having a wrestling background. Usually, when someone takes someone down, like in MMA, they play a jiu-jitsu game. You have one guy on top in someone's guard, and they're playing a jiu-jitsu game. And Willis played a wrestling game. And he went to a position called the referee's position. You saw he wasn't on his back, he was on all fours. He didn't go to a jiu-jitsu game. And I thought he doesn't have a wrestling background. I thought if Blades took him down, he would just be on top of him and being able to mount him and he'd be flat on his back. But Willis he went on all fours, and that's something wrestlers tend to do because it's called a referee's position in folk style wrestling, where you have your knees down, you start with your knees down, and your palms on the mat. And Blades was just he's been wrestling his whole life, so he's I'll just write out this position. So I I don't think we could have known Willis would resort to referee's position. So I thought the finish would be there more for Blades, because I thought Willis would just go flat on his back, because that's what most people do. But because Willis went to referee's position, Blades just rode him. So we kind of got fucked by playing Blades TKO, because Willis didn't give him like an opportunity to really mount him. But what pissed me off is Blades just could have put he had one hook in. If he just put like fucking, I know he's not comfortable riding, or he's comfortable riding and not putting hooks in, but if he just puts one right leg in, just back mounts him, that's an easy pound out. So I'm totally fine with playing Blades TKO. I got it like plus 240. Because, I mean, he had 15 minutes pretty much on the floor with a guy who didn't really know what he was doing and just kind of played referee's position. And if Blades had just like any urgency, I feel like, I don't know, he should have just kind of tried to go out of his comfort zone and get the finish. But, I mean, I'm talking from a bettor's point of view. From his point of view, he's probably just realized he could do that for 15 minutes easy and just pocket a win, so... That's kind of my read on that. I'm not mad at my play for Blades TKO in that fight at all. I would play that again. I mean, after seeing the information we have now that he would just go to referee's position, Willis, and Blades would ride it out, I wouldn't play it again. But before the fight, you couldn't have known that. So I would play it again, having not seen that fight. Pettis Thompson. It's the last fight. Anthony Pettis wins method KO Superman punch. I had Thompson in a 2-leg parlay with Gutierrez, and I don't regret that play either. Like how I mentioned before, I regret the Figueiredo play a little bit and a little bit on the Shelton play too, but I do not regret the Blades TKO or Thompson as a parlay leg. That play, it paid out about even money, him and Gutierrez together. And I mean, Thompson was eating him up. I mean, I guess the only argument you can make is Thompson, I guess, doesn't have a very good chin. So maybe it's semi-repeatable for Pettis to knock him out. But that was meme city, in my opinion. Not being better, I'm just kind of being... You have to be objective in these situations, even on losing nights, which I had tonight. But I just thought that was kind of like... I mean, Thompson beat the shit out of him for pretty much 2 rounds. I know the first round was semi-competitive, but I thought Thompson took it clearly, and it was just like he was building upon that and was upping up volume, he was landing jabs, check left hooks, he was landing kicks, he was landing front kicks, he was landing a lot. Pettis was just landing a few low kicks, like return low kicks every now and then. He didn't really do anything. And then he just lands a fucking Superman punch. So, like, I don't regret that pick either. Yeah, but overall, I think I made some good picks and got a little unlucky, like the Blades and Thompson parlay and the Blades TKO. Then I think I made some kind of bad picks and kind of deserved to lose, like the Figueiredo money line probably. Don't regret the fight not going to decision that much. Do not regret the Macy Barber one. That might be one someone watching might argue with, but I just think if Macy fights the way she usually does, she just dominates Aldrich. So I don't regret that one. And when she kind of started being more aggressive, she killed her. So I don't care if she dropped the first round, personally. And then, but yeah. And then Espinosa Shelton, probably not the best pick on Shelton. But, so yeah, that's kind of the event. And I think it's good to kind of reflect on your picks. But sorry for the people who picked my picks tonight. You win some, you lose some, but overall this year I've been having a really good year, and the people who buy my picks consistently know that. So if you stay with me, I promise you will win in the long run, and we'll start that with UFC Philadelphia next week. So I'm going to start taping with that now. If you have any, follow me on Twitter. If you have any questions or anything, comment, like or subscribe to the video if you can to support the channel. I'd really appreciate that. Love talking to you guys. Losing night, 5 units, it is what it is. We'll get them next time. Thanks, bye.